Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm the Passionate Spinner, and today I wanted to talk to you about the 8 things I wish I knew before I started spinning. Number 1, good tools do not have to be expensive. That's you don't have to buy the most expensive stuff out there. Used wheels are great to get started. Also, when you are a spindle spinner, there's lots of great spindle makers out there. And a lot of the spindles are very pricey. They're worth it, sure, but it doesn't have to be that way, You can start out with lower end of the price tag spindles. So that's the first point. Good tools do not have to be expensive. Number 2, flea market finds are great, but I would not recommend getting a flea market wheel of unknown origin. And I mean that in the you don't know who the maker is. And that is it has a very good reason. If you get a wheel that is from the flea market and the person tells you, oh, it's functional, don't worry about it, and it's not, you will not find any resources that will help you out if you have a wheel that is from an unknown maker. If you get a wheel from one of the larger wheel makers, you will always find online resources to help with problems. You will find spare parts, you will find bobbins and all the things you need to get that wheel going again. But if it's a wheel from a maker that made 10 wheels or, was around a long time ago and you are unable to find any help online, the wheel, even if it's super cheap, it will not help you in any way. Number 3, you don't have to have a lot of gadgets. When you start spinning, all you need is a tool that spins your yarn. One spindle, one spinning wheel with one bobbin, and you're good to go. Everything else is nice to have, but not important to have. So keep that in mind. Number 4, if you have a local spinning guild or a teacher that will teach you how to spin, you can probably rent a wheel for a very low price until you're sure that that is actually something you want to do. And then you can start getting into the research of what wheel you want to get. Make sure that you have tried to rent a wheel first. Guilds, spinning teachers, some shops will rent out wheels and other spinning equipment, like drum carders and stuff like that. So, I think it is a good option to rent things first before you commit to buying something that you might not end up using. Number 5. This is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to spinning. A beginner yarn is not art yarn. I heard that so many times when someone starts out spinning and it's super uneven, because that's what it is. When you start spinning, it doesn't look good. That's normal. And someone walks along and says, oh, don't worry, it's art yarn. It's not art yarn. Art yarn is a very specific way of spinning your yarn. You have to have a lot of skill and you have to have a lot of technical knowledge to spin art yarn. What your beginning yarns are beginner yarns, not art yarns. There's a big difference. So please don't say that. Number 6, spinning thick is a lot harder than spinning thin. When you start out spinning, all you want is to get this thin and even, and you will get there relatively quickly if you commit to spinning every day a little bit. But the hard thing is getting back to spinning thicker. And I know that sounds like, nah. Believe me, spinning thick is a lot harder than spinning thin. Number 7, wool is not wool. It's not all the same. Different sheep breeds produce very different types of fiber. So if you have a merino on one end that has short staple length, that's like the length of the single hair strands, right? That's called a staple length. If you have a merino, staple length can be like this. What's that? Like 5 centimeters, 2 inches. But if you have a Wensleydale sheep, staple length can be like this. That's like 8 inches. So those different length of the individual hair of the sheep and also the individual thickness of the single strands of hair will make very, very, very different yarns. So if you're a beginner, look up what kind of fiber you get from the sheep before you buy something. It's always good to stick to the main breeds: Merino, Blue-Faced Leicester, Corriedale, Shetland. Those are good beginner sheep breeds. I would stay away from things like Wensleydale, Masham. They're all very long and sturdy and hard to spin in comparison. You know, just know, not every kind of sheep produces the same wool. And then, last but not least, number 8, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of spinners out there in the world, and they will gladly help you if you have a problem. And if you ask nicely, don't demand an answer, just ask nicely. There's so many resources out there that you can use, and I will have a video about all of the resources coming in the next few days. And once that is out, I will link it in the description box so you can check that out. But generally, just ask someone. It is so much easier to learn how to spin if you can ask someone who's a spinner and who knows what they're doing. So that's it. That is the 8 things I wish I knew before I started spinning. I hope they're helpful for you as well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!